Noswaithal, good evening, everyone, and Croeso I San welcome to Westminster for one of my regular Facebook live sessions, and I'm absolutely delighted and thrilled to have Natasha joining me. She's been in my diary. I've been trying to get her online, but she's such a busy and such a popular lady. Natasha, are you in Cardiff?
Yes, I am indeed. I just had a lovely busy day in the plenary session that we had in the Welsh Parliament, and I'm delighted to be with you tonight, Virginia.
Oh,
Thank you so
excellent.
much
Well,
for having me.
it's a very, very important day here in Westminster because we've got the Rwanda vote. It should be around 7 o'clock, so I do apologise if it's slightly earlier, and I have to leave you. But I've got a busy week here in Westminster. I love having guests. I've got Peter Williams, one of my farmers, is coming, and he is going to be bringing some lamb for one of the ministers. Tom Tugendhat is coming tomorrow. I've got the Welsh Affairs Select Committee. I've got the Secretary of State for Wales and the Parliamentary Under Secretary for the Welsh Affairs Select Committee. Then I'll be on the island from Thursday, and I'm really looking forward to going around to see the Coast Guard. I'm going to Llangefni Police Station. I am going to the fire station in Holyhead. I'm going to the post office in Llangefni, and I'm also going to the Ocean Science in Menai. Last time I went there, I was actually a student. I actually did some of my oceanography there, so I'm really, really thrilled to be going back. And then I've got my team Christmas party, Natasha, at the Way Hotel, so looking forward to that. And then on Saturday, this will interest you. I'm going to Bryn Shenkin in the high street there. They've got some new parking. There's a parking restrictions there. So I'm going to go and see some of the local residents. And then on Saturday evening, I am going to be an elf, dressed as an elf, along with Santa in Chemais. It's a annual Santa by Sea. Looking forward to that, and hopefully I'll get a chance to pop into the Conservative Club in Holyhead afterwards on Saturday. And then on Sunday morning, up bright and early to go to St Mary and St Nicholas's Church. I'm going to be doing a reading on Sunday, and then back here for next week. We're on recess, and had Natasha from next Tuesday. When are you off?
So we break up as of this week. So Friday, I think, is everyone's last working day, and then as of the following week, it'll be recess. So my recess to begin with will be very much constituency, and then I'll kick into Christmas. And I think I've earned a few days off this year.
Oh, absolutely.
So this time I'm taking a bit of a break.
So Natasha, tell everybody. There are 60 MSs in the Senate, and on Honest Small, we've got five. Honest Small is represented by five members of the Senate, and how does it work in terms of your role as one of those 60 MSs, soon to go to 96 MSs, I must say.
It is indeed. So I represent South East Wales, and that constitutes a number of constituencies, roughly around about 413,000 people. So it's quite a significant number.
Wow.
Yeah, it certainly is. But I absolutely love it. I can't complain. I was elected in 2021, and I'm also Shadow Minister of Transport and Technology. So it does keep me on my toes. And equally, in the region that I represent, there are four other MSs. Two of us are Conservative, and there are two Plaid Cymru. So many of us tend to have different interests, different issues that we're passionate about, and they do come across in the way we are when we're in the chamber and also outside of it. But I must say, Virginia, you're absolutely right. The one cause of concern that's, aside from 20 mile per hour, which I know we're going to be talking about later on in much depth and detail, is indeed Senate expansion. It is coming, whether we like it or not, but the price tag associated with it is going to be in the region of, at the moment, the figure stands at £120 million. We've got 60
£120 million. Natasha, we've got to say hi to a few people. Lisa Houghton, absolutely fantastic, Lisa. A really, really talented artist. Hi, Lisa. Bruce Hughes is really good on the transport issues. Fionn Gwen, she runs one of my favourite shops on the island. We've got Make It Your Business, Honest Morn. Hi. Kevin from Muddy Fox Buckle. Hi. Oh, Carl Williams. Carl is a fantastic guy from Sandymount Hotel in Rossnager. Gareth Morgan. Hi. Sarah Winifred. And we've got a few more people joining. So tell us a bit about your journey. How did you become an MS?
So I actually wasn't born into politics, as one should say. I had quite a varied background. I went to university in London, studied politics, my BA and my MA, but then decided I didn't really want to do it. Tony Blair did a marvelous job of putting me off politics for life. So I was very much of the thought that I don't want to do it. Went into banking and finance, loved it. Did it for 4 years and really enjoyed it, but then I got bored. So I went into media and worked in radio, TV and print. I eventually had a chat show for 4 years, which was great.
Did you? Where was the chat show?
Chat show was based in London. It was for an ethnic channel called ZTV. It had 17.9 million global viewers.
Wow. I can imagine you doing that.
Yeah, so the show did really, really well. I'm very fortunate I was able to do it. It was a new concept, something never done before. So every day of the week, we would do a different topic, and every show was live,
Yeah.
completely live. So when we had days where guests didn't show, I had to hold the fort. I had to hold the fort pretty much.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, so it was quite a challenge.
So many talents, right? So we've got Wayne Crew. Hi, Wayne. Selwyn Edwards. Hi. And Graham Sisma. We've got our first questions come in. What do you think of the 20-mile-an-hour law now, Natasha? I mean, you've done some great speeches on this.
I'll be honest with you, Virginia, and also to all of your viewers tonight, it has been the bane of my life. I know we're conservative, but the one thing I truly stand for is the voice of the people. And there's a petition currently out there. It's had over 460,000 signatures.
Yeah. 8,700 from Honest Morn.
I mean, wow, that's phenomenal. I have noticed that there have been a lot of signatures coming from North Wales particularly, and I know that's activity, and I know that's because people up in North do rely on their cars a lot, as do people in South and West Wales too. And the frustration, the biggest angst that I have is that the Labour and Plaid government, and it's Labour and Plaid because they were in this
together, the cooperation.
They voted on it together. It's not something that we've brought into play. I know that as a conservative, I've got no problem, Virginia, and I like to say this to everyone watching tonight. You, me, every conservative will always say, look, we're all for road safety. Don't mind having 20 miles per hour where it's needed. So if you want to have 20 miles per hour outside schools,
hospitals, homes, playgrounds,
no problem, right? We're all for it. However, having this blanket 20 miles per hour is frankly ridiculous. It's costing the economy here in Wales over £9 billion. Now, look, I was more than happy to say if you want to have a road safety campaign, I know Virginia and London, you've done them previously with Go Safe campaigns, for example, for mobile phone usage when you're driving or drink driving. And I got no problem if the Welsh government said we want to try and cut down on drink driving or people using their phones whilst driving. But this is just, quite frankly, my opinion. And it's just, even Labour members of Parliament who you sit with, Virginia, on a day-to-day basis, even they think it's ridiculous and an absolute idea.
Exactly. So we've got here, making your business is saying the impact in rural communities like ours is huge. The buses are worse than ever. Very good point there. We've had Arriva have said they've had to rip up their bus timetable, and I think the impact of the 20 mile an hour plus the bridges across the Menai are making things really difficult for public transport, and we're very much a rural community, but also businesses on the island and businesses looking to invest on the island. And of course, we've got this fantastic free port, and we just filed our outline business case today, so it's a really important day. And in order to make a success of it, we need to have that connectivity. We need, Holyhead is the second busiest roll-on port in the whole of the UK. We are the gateway, the land bridge to Europe, so it's very, very important. Wayne says, do you think more people will vote Conservative in Wales if Natasha was the Conservative leader in Wales? I do. As you've got a big fan there. Jabba's watching. Llanfaelog Community Hub. Thank you for joining us, Llanfaelog. And hi, Sue Williams. Sue Williams, absolutely fantastic. She's a brilliant, brilliant elf. Brian Owen and Tony Williams are also watching. We need some more questions coming through. So in terms of the expansion of the Senate, you gave a very good speech. I remember listening to it about this zipping for women. Maybe you could explain to people this whole sort of issue of proportional representation and this sort of voting system, and people actually standing on a party rather than on their name, and with the ramifications of that.
So at the moment, you currently are aware, many of the viewers who are watching tonight will be aware that when you go to the ballot box for our Senate elections, there'll be 2 ballot papers given to you. One is first past the post. So you'll have, for example, Natasha Asghar, Virginia Crosby, Mr. Joe Bloggs, for example. All of us will be put in named order, and you'll have Labour, Conservative, Plaid Cymru, Lib Dem, Independent, etc., etc. And that's your first past the post members. Then you also have a long ballot, which is normally the size of your arm, which is a regional vote. And that's basically listed as party by party. So you'll have everyone on there, as I mentioned, Conservative, Lib Dem, etc., with our names underneath. Very small, but you'll be able to see it'll be Asghar, Crosby, Joe Bloggs, etc., listed under the Conservative banner. Now, based on the new system, the Welsh Labour government, as well as Plaid Cymru, are saying that this is going to lead to more diversity and inclusivity. Now, I don't quite frankly see how that's going to happen, because what they're trying to do now is abolish the first past the post system. They're planning on ring fencing constituencies, so there will be potentially six members per constituency, as opposed to having regional and constituency members. And for some constituencies,
so we're going to have 6. We're going to have 6 representing Ynys Môn and 1 MP.
roughly, which is going to be absolute. I personally, I think it's going to be pandemonium. I don't know how on earth it's going to look in relation to members.
Paying for it. I mean, this is not just the individual salary. This is whole teams, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
This is whole teams.
It is.
And to not go to the electorate to give them a choice. I think that's not democracy, is it?
It's not at all. And I said initially when we had the debate, I said, look, let's have a referendum. If you can truly put your money where your mouth is, have a referendum, give the people of Wales a voice. Okay, we're all here, we're all elected representatives, whether you're list candidates or whether you're first past, give the people the chance to decide, put it to them. Nope, it was completely met with a shutdown attitude by Plaid and Labour. I was absolutely appalled, and it went through. Now, the worst thing is, and this is what happens to those people who are watching now, will probably be able to relate. A lot of things in Wales happen, and then they realize the consequences of it afterwards. They didn't realize how much...
Like not having a separate COVID inquiry when they were so determined to be so different. So unlike Nicola Sturgeon in Scotland, where she's got a separate COVID inquiry, in Wales, it's been merged with England.
Yeah, and what's the concept here in Wales, what I've realized, and I've only been in this position for 2 years, is that failure is rewarded here. So if the Welsh government is doing terribly, for example, we just had our PISA results out where we performed the lowest when it came to education, Virginia. You know better than anyone else. We always believe how important it is to have a good education, have skills, to be able to progress. You're from a similar background, you know how important it is to have a good education behind you to get where you today. But unfortunately, here in Wales, because they're so stuck in their ways and they think, you know what, no one's ever going to question us, no one's going to ever judge us, it's fine, we can rule the roost for however long. They just seem to think that, it's fine. People will still reward failure by voting for Labour at the ballots every year.
So we've got a few more questions coming. You've got Maud. Hi, Maud. I'm going to be reading at the church in Beaumaris on Sunday. So hopefully I will see you and Hugo on Sunday morning, and a few other people. We've got Colin Goodgroves. Hi, good evening, Colin. Noswaithar. We've got Shadad Ahmed. We've got Daniel. Hi, Daniel. Really nice to hear from you. Thank you, Daniel, for delivering many of my Christmas cards. I had did this great competition of schools across the island, and we had some amazing entrants. And the winner here, look at that. That's from Asghar Llanfire. And I actually took it to the Speaker's office today, and he signed one for me. And we've got two runner-up schools. We've got Asghar Caergeliog, and we've also got Asghar Tywyn, which is near Aria Valley. And we've got all these businesses have sponsored it. Really, really fantastic. So these cards are being distributed to every people across Honest Môn by hardworking people like Daniel. So thank you. So we've got another question here. What can you do to persuade the Welsh government to give us a third Menai crossing, Natasha?
Well, firstly, and quite frankly, I think it's so important to have a third Menai crossing. Virginia, I have to give you 10 out of 10. You are the one person who has consistently gone and kept saying we need to have it. It's so important for infrastructure. It's so important for the economy. It's so important for the people of Ynys Môn and the island and the surrounding areas to be able to have that third crossing. And quite frankly, as Shadow Minister for Transport, I will always fly the flag for you because I understand the plight that you and the residents have so much.
Thank you.
So unfortunately, the Deputy Minister is currently off, so there's no one really to be able to have that conversation with and have those Q&As with. However, written questions are going to be continuously submitted. You and I are still going to keep raising it. I know it's something that we have to work together on, regardless of where we are in the country, but it's so important that the people, particularly your constituents, keep speaking up to you and to all the other members as well, and keep emphasizing how key this third Menai crossing is going to be, because unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people are hearing the importance and the need for it. I have to say, I do represent South East Wales, and to an extent, we are very spoilt in South Wales with bridges, trains, etc. And I know the North sometimes doesn't get as much as it should, particularly just because of laziness, because I think members in the South, particularly Labour members, Plaid Cymru members, think to themselves, it's fine, we've got the majority of our votes down south, we don't need to worry about what's happening in the North. But everyone really should. You deserve to have a strong, public transport infrastructure, and you should also have great links, such as a third Menai crossing.
And last October, when the Menai suspension bridge suddenly closed that Friday afternoon, it took more than 6 weeks for a minister to come from Cardiff. 6 weeks. I mean, and this is a major artery. We've got Kelvin Furlong. Hi, Kelvin. Kevin from Muddy Fox says, and the M4 Relief Road. Yes, good point. Gareth Morgan says, I think Natasha will make a great first minister, head and shoulders better than the dictator Drakeford. Kevin Muddy Fox says, 100%. You got some fans here, Natasha.
Thank you. Virginia, everyone's been so lovely, honestly.
Dave Stretton. Hi, Dave. And Kishari. Lisa mentions the time of year we can be cut off by the weather, absolutely, and having that 7.5 ton limit. We've got David watching. Daniel says, are the Conservatives in the Senate opposing the 10% tree planting policy on farmland? So many council-owned farms on Anismore are no more than 40 to 70 acres, and those farmers can't afford to lose 10% of their land, plus a further 10% for the environment. Many councils, farmers are worried. Tanya's also watching, and Selwyn, who mentions a tunnel in Conway. We've got Jackie Pariser as well, and John Monkley. So that question's relating to the farming, Natasha.
Okay, so I'll be honest, I'm not a farmer, but I do know that the Welsh Government have been making significant cuts in relation to the funding that's been made to farmers in the past 6 months to a year. And I know there's been a lot of uncertainty, particularly for farmers, and I sympathize, I really do. What we are going to be doing, and my colleagues are doing, whose portfolio is indeed agriculture, they are constantly questioning, constantly scrutinizing, constantly going after the Welsh Government and saying, what are you doing for farmers? Because they're so obsessed with tree planting. Listen, I love the environment as you love the environment, Virginia. None of us want to leave the world a ball of fire for generations to come. But at the same time, it's so, so, so important that we make sure that we don't just carry on with the woke agenda that exists at the moment. And I'm all for tree planting, but farming unions have seriously been ignored. There's no doubt about it. And there is going to be a debate. In fact, please do keep an eye on it. To all of your viewers tonight, there's going to be a debate on rural affairs tomorrow here in the Welsh Senate. So please watch this space.
Excellent, excellent. And the whole badger situation, England versus Wales, I mean, that is a real stark reminder as to how farmers are treated here. And Carl makes a really good point, because I know you've got the budget should be announced, shouldn't it, the 19th or the 20th of December, so next week. And I remember last year there was the vote was for less funding for the NHS, and I think rather than Plaid supporting the Conservatives and voting it down, they abstained.
Yeah.
And they had the opportunity to work with you to give more money to the NHS in Wales, and they chose to abstain. So Carl is saying it's important for us here in the North, and it's a shame that other parties don't foster collaboration and bipartisanship for the sake of the country and ensure effective governance and positive outcomes rather than their own party politics. We need more people like both of you prepared to work with other parties for the sake of Wales. Absolutely, Carl. We really, this is it's so important. Oh, Howell Williams is watching. Howell, when are you going to buy your lovely wife Carol some flowers? She really deserves them, and I look forward to seeing you on Thursday night. We've got Tim Conway. Theon says, breath of fresh air hearing you talk with enthusiasm, motivation, and listening to the opposition here on Honest Morning is depressing. It seems as their glass is always half full. That is true what Theon is saying. It always seems to be more money. The answer always seems to be more money. But if you look at it, if you look at the numbers, it's the equivalent of 20% more per person in Wales than it is in other parts of the UK, and it's what they spend it on, isn't it? And what they choose to spend it on seems to be the real issue. But the answer to, as you say, the PISA results always seems to be we want more money, but they've had to hand back some money they didn't spend last year.
Agreed. Now, in my opinion, and my humble opinion, is that Labour are financially absolutely reckless when it comes to money. Their priorities are completely skewed. They sent back £155.5 million, Virginia. I just can't understand the logic behind it.
That could have been a lot of our bridge. A lot of our bridge.
You would have built your bridge.
A lot of doctor appointments and dentist appointments.
And from a very selfish public transport / transport portfolio person, I'm going to say that's exactly to the penny, to the pound, the amount of money that Mark Harper has spent on a £2 bus fare for everybody.
Yes.
That would have covered all the quabbles that I had here in Wales in relation to public transport. But no, because of sheer laziness, they didn't pick up the phone and call London and say, is there a deadline to spend this money? That's the only reason they lost it, nothing else.
Shocking.
And they have the audacity. It is disgusting. And they have the audacity for everything, Virginia, absolutely everything. Health, education, transport, all of these matters, even agriculture, they're all devolved. But the one thing that really gets my goat and really irritates me here in this Welsh Parliament is that the blame will always fall on you in Westminster. Always. It'll always be down to the Prime Minister, the Chancellor. They'll even go as far back as Margaret Thatcher. And I'm sitting there going, wow, it just doesn't make logical sense. And it's such misrepresentation to the public, because they clearly think that the public is that dense they don't realize. And I really want to get the message out there. And I know you do this on a daily basis, but it's so important that we keep saying, you have to remember all these matters that they keep blaming Westminster for have been in their remit for over 25 years. And we are failing in everything. The amount of, special measures that hospitals have been in Wales, education rates are terrible. Virginia, it's heartbreaking, honestly. I commend anyone who's in it. And I know you're passionate about making sure that we have a great standard of life here in Ynys Môn and the island. I want it in South East Wales. But it's just such a shame that Labour and Plaid and Lib Dems just don't see it that way.
It seems so anti-business, and
Yeah.
a lot of people on Asghar quite rightly are worried about the tourism and hospitality tax because, of course, that's one of our main business. It's one of the main sectors for Wales, quite frankly. And I was really shocked to see transport. Have you seen these Transport for Wales adverts on Facebook? They're advocating that people go to Chester shopping. I mean, how do people in businesses in Wales feel when they see that? They're telling their customers to go somewhere else to spend their money. It's such a difficult time. Making your businesses, we could have used that money, I think the 155 million, to improve Betsy Cadwallader University Health Board. And Daniel says Labour are reckless, they're financially incompetent. We've got Edward Peter Henry Bingham watching. Hi, Edward. Megan Dixon. Hi, Megan. Howell talks about mental health. Kevin says Welsh people need to realise that Labour run Wales. All problems here are their creation. I absolutely agree, Kevin. And I think what I find very frustrating is Asghar is represented by 5 members of the Senate in Cardiff, and health is devolved. And yet, Kevin, it's a third of my post bag, a third. And my team are fantastic. I don't have anyone here, actually. All my team are in Holyhead. They're absolutely brilliant team. But they are working their socks off. I'm the only MP, actually, out of 650 MPs that hasn't got one councillor of their political party for support. And it means that my team do so much casework. So I don't have that help. And I'm very, very grateful to them. They do an absolutely brilliant job. Lisa Houghton says she's very concerned about the number of ombudsman and coroners reports coming through about Welsh hospitals. My family, sorry to hear about your family, Lisa. The family's been affected by this in terms of the coroner reports, and it really is unforgivable the way some people are being treated. And Gareth Morgan says it's blatantly obvious that Drake's policy is negatively impacting motorists in Wales. Why do they want to wreck businesses, tourism, and affect our daily lives by their draconian restrictions? How can they justify banning new road building but put plenty of money available for new cycle paths? Dreyfus lost the plot. I absolutely agree with you, Gareth, about the earlier this year cancelling all major road building, and I absolutely believe that we need to bring people with us. We want more people to be cycling, we want more people to be walking and using public transport, but you can't have one without the other, and we need to be investing and bringing people with us. We can't just suddenly be stopping road building. We can't be introducing this 20-mile-an-hour. There's even talk of this ULEZ system, isn't there, in Cardiff? If you look at the devil's in the detail, you've been looking at that, I know.
Yeah, and this is a thing. I've been noticing it, been saying it, been screaming it, shouting it from the rooftops. That I honestly, Virginia, I was so concerned when this 20-mile-per-hour came out. I was aware of certain Welsh government documents themselves where they're actually stating what their future plans are. Now, they claim to despise London here, particularly Labour and Plaid Cymru here, but they do also look at them for guidance. So Sadiq Khan, as you know, sitting in London, has introduced ULEZ. It's proven to be massively unpopular. People have gone out, and we're not saying this is the right thing to do on any way. Please don't go out and demolish cameras, etc. But people have had a huge backlash towards ULEZ. Now, what they're thinking is, let's bring ULEZ here. Let's bring congestion charge here. Now, what they're failing to recognise is the salaries in Wales are no way close to what they are to London. On top of that, people here are struggling to make ends meet. They are across the country. I understand cost of living. I know you do, Virginia, and everyone watching does too. But the frustrating part is that they seem to be so devoid of what's actually happening in the world around them, and not everybody can afford £10 to come and go from Blaenau Gwent into Cardiff Bay every day to work 5 days a week. And the sad part is, between you and I and all those watching, I do feel there's a bit of a hidden agenda now with the Welsh Labour government. They have this desire to create a 4-day working week here in Wales. Now, I've heard about it. There are whispers along the corridor, and this is a bit of a
we had that with the council in Cambridge, didn't we, as well? Yes.
So this
disastrous for the businesses.
Awful. I mean, on the one hand, you want to cripple the economy with all of these sort of limitations regarding transport, but then on the other hand, you're making this world whereby everyone sits at home and works from home. Now, that's great in some jobs, and it can be done. But Virginia, could you sit at home and work from home? I couldn't. I don't have the luxury to sit at home and work from home. So for me, I would struggle.
I think my kids might have something to say about that. And we've got Anthony Ward watching. Anthony takes the most amazing photos of the island and great photos of me and him. Anthony, when are you coming to see me here in Westminster? You've just promised, and You need to come and see me. Danny Crooks, Nikki Clark, due to the 20-mile-an-hour debacle, my eyes have been opened to the way money's being wasted by the Labour government. It's appalling and they need to be brought to task. If it was a private business, they would have lost their jobs. Nikki makes some really, really good points there. But Natasha, 8,700 people from honest mourners signed the petition. So, I mean, a Welsh government just ignoring it. I mean, I spoke in the Welsh Questions actually last Wednesday before Prime Minister's questions, and this is something I said to the Secretary of State. Would he make sure that the Welsh government listened to people?
Yeah,
more people have voted for this petition than voted for Labour in the last Senate elections.
Agreed. And those figures are horrifying. The worst thing is, Virginia, the insult to injury is that Lee Waters, who's the Deputy Minister for Transport here, now he's been away for a few weeks, so I've not been able to scrutinise him perhaps as much as I have done in the past. But what's really annoyed me is that he put out a tweet whereby Scotland, they're looking to roll out 20 miles per hour. I was in Scotland a couple of weeks ago because I know you, myself, we all like to have good relations with our Scottish counterparts. Now, they actually are thinking about rolling out 20 miles per hour. And he had the audacity, the Deputy Minister here now for Transport, Lee Waters, turned around and goes, it's so good. I'm sure the people of Wales will get used to it, as they will in Scotland. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, are you actually joking? Virginia, every single week, without fail, we have protesters here in the Welsh Parliament protesting, saying 20 is not plenty. That seems to be the slogan. 20 is plenty. People are not getting used to it. People are not succumbing to it. People are not becoming more agreeable to it. But it's infuriating because it seems like the ministers here, the worst part is of it, Virginia, is you and I both know, to be good politicians, you have to be responsive to your public. You have to be there for your constituents, good, bad, or ugly, right? Regardless what come or may. These Labour members are refusing to respond to anybody who writes into them about 20 miles per hour, just point blank, not responding, not communicating. And when it comes down to it, when they are either questioned by the electorate, who they rightfully should be, they just be like, I'm a backbencher, I didn't have a say, can't really say anything against our policy, it's party policy. It was literally a footnote in their manifesto, which has become a laughing stock across the UK.
We've even had things like, was it £200,000 that went to an English council to help them on the borders, to help them get used to the 20 miles? £200,000.
I mean, it was under, yeah.
Was it under? How much was it?
Not that much. Literally, like 100. Not that far away from what you've got, to be fair with you. But
okay. I mean, it's just that's money that's taxpayers' money, and I think that that's really, so make it your business makes the point that the when they gave that stat about how much longer people's journeys are, but they actually were using data from England, and as you say, they use things in England when it suits them, and things in Wales when it suits them in Wales. Brilliant. Anthony is promising to come see me. Brilliant. Hi, Caris. Wayne, if they bring in road charging in ULIS, shouldn't we all have a refund the tax on cars? Vel, and Kevin says the protest at the Senate will continue until the next Senate elections. Diane John is watching as well. Now we've got a couple of minutes. Lisa Hughes said transport policy in 20 mile an hour is very urban centric. City policies don't work for rural areas. Absolutely agree with you, Lisa. So to finish off, what are you up to for Christmas, Natasha?
So the plan for Christmas is my mother hasn't been very well. So for those people who don't know, my 70-year-old mother, she lives with me. Or actually, no, I should say that correctly. I live with her. She gets very offended if I say she lives with me. So I live with her. And Christmas is the one time of the year where I have no excuse to run or hide. So I'll be making Christmas dinner. I will be spending it with her. We'll normally watch the Queen's speech or King's speech now, obviously. Experiencing that. So King's speech followed by a massive lavish Christmas dinner put together by myself. We'll have some family come around, spend the afternoon with us. And obviously, Virginia, I have to sit there and watch the EastEnders special.
Oh, Natasha, amazing. Well, listen, that bell means I've got 8 minutes to get to the chamber to vote on the Rwanda bill. So everybody here is watching history being made live. And I'd like to say, thank you, Natasha. You're an absolute breath of fresh air. It's been an absolute delight to have you as my guest. Please come and see me more in Westminster. Come to the island. We'll spoil you, look after you. We'd love to, it'll be an absolute treat to have you. And I wish you a lovely Nadolig Llawen.
Fantastic. Well, I'll be there and hopefully the island next year, Virginia. I'll be out there supporting you, and I look forward to meeting many of your Facebook viewers as well.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you everybody that joined tonight. I love your questions. I love you joining. It feels like family. I know so many people now. I'll be on the island on Thursday. I'm going around the police station, the post office, the Coast Guards. I hopefully I'll see lots of you in Bridgeshenkin at the High Street, and also at the Trail Bay Hotel and Santa by Sea in Chemois, and the church in Vermaris, and the Con Club on Saturday night. So lots and lots of things. If you want to see me over Christmas, if you need help with anything, or you want me to come to one of your Christmas fairs, then do please get in touch. I would love to come along. All right, jock about.